Hey y'all, it's Lacey, and today I am coming on here with a tag video. I haven't done a tag in a while. I can't remember the last one that I did. I'd have to look back. But anyway, this one is the Doughnut Book Tag, and I forgot to write down who the original creator of this was, so I'll try and look that up and put it in the description. But I was tagged by Tia from Tia and All the Books. Donuts are my weakness. I love them. I could eat my weight in donuts. They're like the one sweet that I could just eat a ton of. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but donuts are just my weakness. So this is right up my alley. So the first prompt is classic. A classic book you feel everyone needs to read. And for this one, I picked A Handmaid's Tale, just because of the topic of the story. If you've seen at least the first season of the show, it follows the book pretty closely, so you get an idea of what the book is about. But it's just really tough, like, subject matter. I saw an interview with Margaret Atwood, or like a clip from an interview where she said that everything in that book has happened at some point in history, like the types of cruelty that people inflict upon each other. None of it was made up by her. It was all real things that have happened in different cultures around the world at some point in time in history. So that kind of makes it extra frightening and even today some of that stuff still happens. But anyway, I think it's a book that everybody should read. It does kind of take a little bit of time to get into with the writing style, but it's definitely a book that sticks with you. Number 2, Vanilla Frosting, a simple but engaging work. And for this one, I picked The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I read this recently as a buddy read with Angie from Literary Labors and Tia from Tia and All the Books. I think we read this in August. And it's just a fun, quick read. I think we all three just kind of breezed through it in a couple of days. And it's just one of those books that, you don't have to think much about. It's just for entertainment purposes, and it's just really fun to read. All right, the third prompt is Chocolate Frosted, your second favorite work from your favorite writer. I don't have a number one favorite writer, but for this one I picked Diana Gabaldon because I've read the entire Outlander series. I have not read any of her other books that like in her Lord John Grey series or any of that stuff, but I do love the Outlander series. So the second favorite work from that author I picked was Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon. This one is the fourth in the Outlander series, and I think it is probably like my second favorite after Voyager, which is the third one, which I feel like is probably my number one favorite out of that series. Okay, number 4, Strawberry Frosted, a lesser known work from a known writer you feel should be read. This one I kind of had a hard time because I don't know, I haven't read a lot of multiple books from one author. There's only a handful. But for this one, I picked Whispers by Dean Koontz. This one I didn't know about until many, many years later, after I had read a lot of his books. And a lot of his books are usually horror based. They have a horror theme to them, or kind of like a supernatural, paranormal type theme to them. This one is more psychological, and I didn't discover this one until I was probably an adult, and it is very creepy, and it's got that psychological thriller element to it that kind of leaves you wondering up until the end, and then there's the twist. And so yeah, I would recommend it if you kind of like those creepy psychological type books. Number 5, Glazed, a writer that immediately immersed you. I don't talk about this series pretty much at all on this channel, just because it's just a given that, you know, it's my favorite, you know, I love it. But I did pick the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I feel like she did an excellent job in that series of just bringing you into the world of Harry Potter and the wizarding world, and, you know, immersing you in all of the atmosphere and all of that stuff. So I picked J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter series, for that one. Number 6, Jelly, a work that contained more than you expected. And for this one, I picked Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I read this recently, well, within the last couple of months, and really, really liked it. It was the first book of the year that I gave 5 stars to. So I really enjoyed it. It's a little, there's some parts of the story that are a little tough. I mean, Eleanor Oliphant has dealt with lots of things in her life that, you know, have made her the way that she is, but it was heartwarming, and there were parts of it that were bittersweet, and it was just a really good story and good book, and I really loved the character. All right, number 7, Boston Cream, a scholarly work you would recommend to a casual reader. This one I had a hard time with too, because I don't read a lot of scholarly books, but the one that I ended up picking was 1984 by George Orwell. It's a little hard to read just because of the writing style, but I think it's very relevant to today. I mean, it's considering when he wrote that book, the things that he incorporated in that story, it's very scary how much it relates to modern day. So I think that everybody should try and read that at least at some point in your life. And maybe more as an adult, because, you know, I think you would be able to understand it better and have a, you know, if you're coming at it with a little bit more life experience, maybe you would be able to appreciate it more than if you were reading it as like a high school student, I think. All right, number 8, Cruller, a work that makes you think of France. I ended up picking Les Miserables. I have not read this, but I hope to one day. You know, it's one of those goal books, but it's set in France, right? I think. So this is the only one that I could think of that I maybe want to read. I haven't really read any books that were set in France, so this was kind of a, you know, that's all I had. All right, number 9, Powdered Sugar, a work that left you with evident emotions. I have mentioned this book on this channel in several videos because it's another one that has just stuck with me ever since I read it, and that is A Prayer for Owen Meany by John Irving. This book, I'm not a crier in general. I don't like to cry, but at the end of this book, if I was reading it, I was finishing it somewhere where, you know, there were people around, so I could not cry in public. But if I had been by myself, I would have been a blubbering mess. I'm just saying. I'm gonna put that out there. All right. Number 10, Cider, the perfect reading material to read in front of a fire in autumn. Now this book that I picked, I'm not sure if I would read it in autumn, maybe autumn/winter, but I think it would be perfect in front of a fire, curled up with a blanket, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. It's been a long time since I've read this book, but, and I didn't read it until I was probably like college, maybe young adult, I can't remember. But this is a copy. My grandparents gave me this for Christmas one year, I don't know, in 1991. So I've just always thought it's such a pretty copy of this book. So I feel like this would be a good one to like curl up with and read. And maybe I will again one day. I don't know. Okay, number 11, Doughnut Hole, a collection of short, accessible works that you enjoyed. This is like my go-to. I picked Calvin and Hobbes. This is just one of the books that I have. But it's just a collection of the comics that show Calvin and his stuffed tiger, Hobbes. So they're just fun, enjoyable, quick. You know, you can't go wrong with comics. And then number 12, Raspberry Frosted, a book you would recommend to Homer Simpson. I don't really get this one. I'm not really sure what Homer Simpson has to do with this. I guess because he likes donuts, maybe. I'm not a Simpsons fan, so I don't know. But for this one, I picked Goodnight Moon because it's simple. I don't know if Homer Simpson likes to read, but I don't know. This is the one that popped into my head. And then number 13, what is your favorite donut? My favorite donut is a Boston cream donut, if we're talking flavors. Place to get donuts is there's a place, they're starting to pop up more and more, but it's a place called Duck Donuts. They're, we usually get them when we go to the beach, like Nag's Head area, but they just have like different toppings, different glazes, different combinations that you can get. There's a maple bacon one that is really good. There's like lemon ones, but the donut is like a very cakey type of donut, and then you can just make up all different combinations of toppings and stuff to put on them. They're so good. But that's like my favorite place to get donuts, but my favorite flavor of donut is probably a Boston cream. And number 14, time to make the donuts. Who do you tag? I'm not going to tag anybody because I think this has been around for a while. So if you haven't done it and you like donuts, do it. But I saw a couple of videos where some people didn't know where the time to make the donuts came from. And I guess just being of a certain age, you know, I know what that's from. It was the Dunkin' Donuts tagline back in the 80s. They had a whole commercial about it. So yeah, it was kind of funny that like some people didn't know that, and I felt really old that I did. So anyway, this was pretty fun tag to do. Thank you, Tia, for tagging me. Sorry it took me so long to get to it. I have a couple of other tags that I'd like to get to soon, so hopefully I can do those. And until next time, thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.